So crazy. And I think we're live. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, I do it every time. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we are live. One of these days. Oh, my God. Where is this coming? There. Oh, great. Oh my God. Hold on. I'm so sorry. There we go. All right, I should go back and delete all the beginnings of all of my videos. So we're late today. You can tell it's been one of those mornings. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Today we have a quick and easy, but uber important topic that we're talking about. Consistency isn't sexy, but it works. I was just talking to somebody this morning about what I believe is one of the reasons most coaches just fizzle out and never stay in the game, aren't here for the long haul. And I do believe it is this more than anything. We have to build a foundation of our business so that we can then get to the other part. And nobody gets past this first part. It's like, have you ever been in like a lake or something? And if you walk in, it's like muck and it's gross. But if you get past that, then it's like these clear, beautiful waters. It's like wade through that muck to get to the good part. And most people just like spin around in the muck and just get lost and never move past that. Anyway, what it takes is consistency on the stuff that really matters, the stuff that moves the needle, the intentional actions that will build your business, your foundations, your brand, your visibility, and get you past that hump. And that's what we need the consistency for. And based on who we are as people, it's really hard. It's not in our personalities. Most entrepreneurs, maybe if you're a business owner, you have a little bit more of that stick to itness, distinguish between the two. But whoever you are, it's not, everybody needs to work on it a little bit. Some of us are way up here. Some of you are, a little bit better at it. So it is really the secret sauce behind success. And if you look at anybody that did really well and built a big business, it's because they focused on one thing and then they just iterated on that one thing over and over and over. Look at Coca-Cola. I mean, they have a lot of products, but what's the real big product is just regular Coca-Cola. When did they start? A million years ago. It's still just Coca-Cola. That's their biggest product. The one Coca-Cola. So anyway, it is the secret sauce behind success. It's what we really need to do to build the brand. And it's what we all crave. We want the growth, but we feel bored, we get burnt out, we get super distracted, squirrel, on all of those other shiny objects. What do I call it? Oh, focus flicker. I wrote it down. Focus flicker. That's what I always call it, right? All right. So what we're going to talk about today is it's not built in bursts, it's built in patterns. How many of you are the bursts kind of people? Like you'll be like, oh, I'm going hardcore, and you do whatever it is, posting or outreach or whatever it is for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you just stop, right? You have to build a system around it. You have to build a pattern around it, and it needs to happen over and over and over. So it is totally the difference between the hobbyist, right? And the business owner, the high impact business, the one that's really going. And you can see, Like if you look around, like if you're a coach, if you're a business owner, if you are a chiropractor, right? There are 1,000,001 chiropractors around in the 10-mile radius. You know, around me, the big businesses are salons and veterinarians for whatever reason. I mean, I have like in a, you know, like a 1-mile radius of my house, there are probably 20 salons and 10 veterinarians. More than that, maybe. It's insane. Anyway, whatever it is, it's always, you look out at this sea of sameness and you're like, wow, the competition is fierce. How will I ever? Right? That's the first thing you think about, but that's not the right way to look at it. The way to look at it is, what are they really doing? How are they, how are they doing? And where are they really at in their business? So if you look at the highest ones in your business, they're really the ones doing it, and they have teams. So don't compare your beginnings to someone else's success point, but how did they get there? That's the part that you need to look at. And that's the part that you need to mimic or create routines around. So we're talking about the unglamorous side, but totally game-changing truth behind success. And that is persistence, right? If you fall, get back up for sure. But it's also consistency. So if you've ever said, I know what to do, I just don't do it consistently, this one is for you. All right. So, why it feels boring, but it's brilliant. That's what we want to talk about at first. So the brain loves novelty. We love new things. That's what excites us, right? Routine feels stale even when it works. It doesn't matter. Even if you do the exact same thing over and over and over, it feels stale. So it's like that instant gratification versus delayed gratification. Have you ever seen the study about the kid that eats the marshmallow, right? The one that can delay it the longest is the most successful. And they did that study a long time ago, but it still applies. It applies to us too. We have to be looking long-term and not immediate. And that's where we fall, right? That's where we fall. We want that immediate gratification, but you can't get that immediate gratification in the muck. It comes once you get in that clear water. All right. So why does consistency really matter? It's not about doing everything every day. This is where I kind of mess up, like that overwhelm, right? You have to do everything every day. It's about showing up regularly with focused intent. Intent is a word I would love for you to write down, because what you do needs to be so super intentional. Talking about Gary Vee again, right? He's like, you got to be everywhere. You got to put the content out everywhere. And then you hear somebody else and they're like, but you have to do a different piece of content for every platform. And then you talk to somebody else. Everybody has a different opinion and a different thing. You can listen to them all, or you can decide what works for me in what I need to do and how I need to do it. And that's what you need to do. Everything needs to be super dialed in intentionally. What is it that you need to get done? And are you, or how are you going to get it done? So consistency equals perfection, right? We want to think about that. If you are like one of those people that has to do everything perfect, the thing doesn't have to be done perfectly. It's the consistency that needs to be done perfectly. And that's where you need to like zero in your perfectionism in on how consistent do you do it, not how perfect is what you do. You can make that flip. So it's just being committed to showing up even when, and mostly, right? When it's inconvenient, when it's imperfect, and when it's unglamorous. Like this hairdo I've got going on. right? You still have to show up. So today we are going to talk about, and we're doing it a little bit different today. So we're going to talk about the consistency compass and its 5 C's to stay on track. Normally I do the acronym. Today we're doing an alliteration. We're switching it up. Alliteration is just all the same. I feel like I want to say sound, but I'm using letters, whatever. It is what it is. I'm doing 5 C's to stay on track. So if consistency is the engine, these 5 C's are the compass, the little Erica cheese to keep you going pointed in that right direction. And so, a compass, if you've ever looked at it, it does this. Right? I always talk about the ship, but it's because it's like, that's how a plane does too, right? It's never directly on track. It's always like self-adjusting. And if you look at a compass, that's what it does. So you're moving as it's self-adjusting. All right. So number 1C is commitment. This is the number 1 for everything and anything you do in life in general, right? But obviously for consistency. Sorry. It starts with a decision, not a mood. I want to repeat it. Commitment starts with a decision, not a mood. A mood is let's go, right? That's the fly by night kind of excitement that we feel at the moment. That's not what we want, right? We want a decision, that commitment. All right, show up for the outcome you want, not the feeling you have right now. If you've ever heard the story about, oh my goodness, I'm going to just butcher this. So I'm just going to give the highlights, but basically it's, that we all need to be happy in what we're doing in the moment. I'm not even going to tell the story because now I can't think about it. But let me give you an example. If you're in a job that you absolutely can't stand, right? You need to look at the outcome that is what gives you the happy feeling. So if the outcome of that job is I provide really well for my family and my kids, get to do X, Y, and Z, that's the outcome that you need to be focused in on, not the day-to-day, right? Obviously, if that's you, get this business going or look for another job. But sometimes, sometimes we're in a position where it's just not possible at the moment. And I get that. So look at the outcome that you can get out of it. That's us going through the muck. We don't like this part. It's human nature. Nobody wants to do outreach. There are a few, crazy people that think it's fun. And maybe if you get in a role and you can look at it in different ways, you can get to a point where maybe it is a little bit, I'll be honest, but you got to wade through the muck to get there. And so you have to show up for the outcome that you want, the outcome, not the feeling that you have right now. And that's being in the muck, right? So committed, not just interested. Huge, huge, huge difference, right? So are you committed or are you interested? You're going to act differently depending on that answer. Number 2, cadence. All right, so that first C was commitment. Second one, cadence. Pick a rhythm that works for you. This is one of the ones where I mess up. I'll be like, I need to do 186 things every single day. And it's like, go big or go home. I love that. But you don't want to do that. It's not go big or burst. That's terrible. You want to do something that works. And if you've ever read any of the goal achievement books, they'll talk about if you want to exercise, if you want to run a marathon, right? And right now you're a couch potato. How can you make that happen? You can commit to putting your sneakers on every day and just walk into the front door, right? So you get out of bed, you put your sneakers on, you walk to the front door. Do that every day for 7 days in a row. And you'll be like, okay, I've got this. Next 7 days, maybe the next 3 days, put your sneakers on, you walk to the front door and you go to the mailbox. Walk, right? Might take you longer, but you're doing it. You're doing it because if you go like that and maybe you shorten how long you're doing it for. But if you can make it a routine that you automatically do, you automatically get out of bed and put your shoes on. Well, once your shoes on, you automatically walk to the door. Well, once you walk to the door, you automatically walk to the mailbox, right? Do you see how that goes? If you keep adding to that step, it works a lot better. So don't do that. I need to do 180 things every single day. Even if you feel like that's what you need to do, don't start there. You know, I'm going to post 3 times a week. I'm going to do something about posting every single day of the week, but you're going to post twice a week, right? Maybe one day you do ideation. Maybe one day you do mapping it out. One day you do, recording or graphics and captions. You hear me. So think of the cadence that works for you. I am one of those people that has to do something every single day. Otherwise, like if I skip a day, then it'll turn into 2 days and 3 days. Know yourself, right? Being an entrepreneur, you need self-awareness. Know yourself, figure it out. If you don't know it today, that's okay. That's okay. But figure it out. What is it that you can do and will do consistently? All right, consistency doesn't mean constant. It means reliable. It means reliable. It means I say I'm going to post once a week. I post once a week. I say I'm going to post 3 times a week. I post 3 times. That's it. That's all it means. Once a month, it's once a month. And there are people that build businesses, huge businesses, doing way less stuff. It just takes longer. All right. So build a pattern. Your audience and your nervous system can count on. What does that mean? Don't spaz yourself out, right? Don't go down that like crazy train of like, I've got to do it. Oh no, I didn't do it. That's the, oh my God, I'm so amazing. Oh my God, I'm horrible. You don't want to do that either. That's not good, right? So give yourself something that you can be successful at over and over and over and build on it and build on it. All right. So that's cadence. Third one is clarity. This is the other really big one that I think keeps business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, whatever, stuck is clarity. A lot of times we think we're clear when it's roaming around in our heads, but start telling people about it, start writing it down, and I guarantee you what was in your head doesn't come out. And that's how I like to say how we find our voice, right? That's how we find our voice is through that clarity. And that's how we find clarity is through doing it. So what are you doing consistently and why? Clarity in and of itself kills that overwhelm. If you know exactly what you want to do and when you want to do it and have a cadence that you can do, then there's no overwhelm about it. It's just, oh, do. So define it. The exact actions, how you're going to know how to do them, right? Know how to do them. Know how to do those exact actions that you want to take every day, every week, every month that move the needle. What does that mean? Build your business, make you profitable. It's not a business if it's not making money. All right, so examples, 1 post a day, 3 DMs a week or a day or an hour, whatever it is, 1 podcast a month. Maybe you're guesting, maybe you're producing, whatever it is. All right, 4th C is containers. This is important. And the first thing I'm going to say, don't laugh, but don't wing it. I'm a big winging it person. I can wing a lot of things. I'm fairly good at it. I'll be honest. I'm fairly good at winging it. However, that's no way to build a business. That is no way to build a business. So I was talking to somebody earlier about this as well. And what it is because we're wading through the muck, we need to get out of that muck as quickly as possible. How do we do it? We systematize, right? You schedule it, you systematize it, protect it, the time, the calendar appointment, whatever it is. Do not wing it. And why is that so important? Because the faster you can do that, the faster you build your own structure, your own systems, your own SOPs, the faster you can hand that off, right? Bing, bang. This is what you're going to do. This is how many times you're going to do it. This is how you do it. You now know all of that, and now you hand it off. So containers, make sure you have different things. If you're into AI, right? If you're into AI and you want to create a GPT, you don't create a like Erica's business GPT. No, you create one for a very specific task. Then you create another for a very specific task and another. Start practicing creating GPTs. That's an amazing, amazing practice to figure out what you want done, right? And then you hire somebody to run those processes. Believe it or not, you will still need the humans and all of it. All right, last one is celebration. This is something that we forget to do. So we want to celebrate. We want to know what feels good. And so sometimes it's cheesy little celebrations. Maybe you print out a calendar and you just write check marks on it, or you do it on your phone or online. An Excel spreadsheet, check marks. Maybe you're ultra cheesy and you get little stickers and you stick them on there, you know, stars for everything. Whatever it is, your brain remembers feeling good. So reward it. You want your brain to know that you did a good job, even if it's just checking it off a list. Ooh, yeah. How many of us love checking things off a list, right? So if you've ever done something like 75 hard, that is what that whole program is about. You know, people think it's about getting in shape and anything else, but really what that program is about is teaching you to consistently do what you say you're going to do day in and day out, over and over and over. And it chooses, right? 5, 7, I don't remember, things that are very important to building a good system around your health and your life and systems, right? So that's what you want to do. There's an app and you check it off. Check it off. Why? Because that can give you that boost that you want and your brain remembers it. So it's after the muck. Yay, yay, yay. So you don't remember the muck, you remember the yay. All right, so celebrate consistency, not just results. So that goes back to the bursts, right? Sometimes we're like, but I did blah, 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 and I got blah, 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 blah. So why should I do this? It's because I talk about the snowball effect a lot, right? If you start off and you like, sometimes people start off and they have beginner's luck. And then all of a sudden it's like flat line. And they're like, but what happened? You know, or when we start businesses, we start off and we get all these clients and then all of a sudden it's flatline, crickets. Why? Same thing with ads. Why? Because it's going through all of your warm traffic on ads first. Even if you chose cold traffic, it's picking your warm. Your own business, you're going through any of your warm people around you before you go into the cold, cold, cold world of cold, right? But once you get there, flatline. And that's why you need to start building those systems from the get-go so that when you get there, you don't flatline. You know, maybe you take a little bit of a dip, but it starts building itself again and again and again and again, right? It's building and it's that snowball that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's what consistency will create for you. It's not just the bursts. So people say, like, I do evergreen and I have conversations with people all of the time that can get into my program. I love that. What about launches? Well, I do launches. I don't do that. That's cool, right? But launches are bursts. What if you did launches and evergreen? Because that's how you're building. What if you did evergreen and then they get onto a launch? Wow, right? Because now they've got all this and they've got that buildup and now they get on here. And then what if you don't close them and you have another launch? Now they've got that buildup from here. Bam, second or third launch, and now they're buying. That's what the buyer's journey really looks like. It's a lot longer than it used to be. And those BAMs are 3% of people out there. That's 3%. So if you want to talk about bursts, you're getting 3%. There's still 97 or 98%. Let's go get them, right? So get that consistency going. Structure creates freedom. And I think this is one of the things that we do not get. Maybe it's because we don't want to. When we first become entrepreneurs, we're like, oh, but the whole reason I did this was so that I don't have to have a schedule. The whole reason I did this was so that I don't have to have, commit to things or do things. It's BS that you're telling yourself. I hate to say it and I hate to call you out on it, but that's what it is. It's BS that you're telling yourself. Why? Because watch this. You could plan your schedule to go hardcore in for 12 weeks. Then you could take a week or two off. How many of you can actually just check out for a week or two? Right? So if you worked for a corporation, maybe you get 2 weeks a year, right? Maybe you've worked there for 30 years and you get 5 weeks a year, right? 5 weeks. But what if you've used your 5 weeks and your best friend decides to get married in Aruba and you want to go for 7 days, right? Or, oh my God, I'm going down on a tangent on this thing. Anyway, structure creates freedom. The more structured you are, the more freedom you have. You want to work 3 hours a day, you have to be super structured in those 3 hours a day. You want to, have the freedom to pick up and go whenever you want to go. You have to have the structures to be able to give other people to work when you're not there. What if you want to step back a little bit, right? If you want to step back a little bit, you have to have structure in place in order to be able to do that. So you've got to build the structures at the beginning, at least. It takes a while. That's what creates the freedom. And tools, time locks, routines, those are the things that hold your consistent actions. You need to use those tools, time locks, routines, accountability, right? That's what, if I've never talked about it before, but that's what we do in Action and Accountability Hub. It has nothing to do with strategy or your business or life or anything. It is, what are you going to do? When are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? Get it done. Did you do it? How did you do it? Where were your problems? That type of thing, right? That's Action and Accountability Hub. If you're interested, let me know. It's one of my groups, but it's apart from all my other stuff because that's all it is. It's just get it done, get it done, get it done, whatever. You want to run a marathon? Perfect. That group is perfect. You want to build your business? Perfect. You want to get consistent on, writing a book? Perfect. Whatever it is, it's just having that action and accountability. All right. So celebrate the rewards. Make sure you put them in there. I wrote one down the other day that one of my clients said that she was rewarding herself, or maybe she was saying it to somebody else. I can't remember. With, just reading a book all day. Okay. Now maybe I might not sit down and read a book all day, but I don't very often just sit down and read a book for 4 hours in a row. And I could get into that. So I added that to my rewards list, right? And maybe for you, it's all day. Maybe for you, it's an hour, whatever it is, add in that reward. Going to see a movie, but I was trying to think of like free, zero cost ones. It's hard to think of those that you could do because some people don't want to spend money on their rewards. That's a free one that I would love to do. Sit down and watch a movie. That's a free one, whatever it is. Remember, your brain always remembers feeling good. So focus on consistency, not just results, and track streaks, reward progress, and then anchor in that pride. Give yourself, right? All right. So when you follow your consistency compass, I'll go over it again. You don't have to guess your way to success. You just have to walk the path. So let me give it to you. It's commitment, cadence, clarity, containers, and celebration. All right. You don't need more inspiration. You don't need more rah, rah, rah. You need more implementation, action, getting it done. So think about a time when you really went all in, fully committed to doing something consistently, and you got it done, and you were like, "Oh my God, I rocked!" So proud of myself, right? So think of a time when that happened, and think back to how did that make you feel? Write down some rewards for doing the consistency over time, because it's not the consistency, it's the outcome, right? The reward that you're after, that's what you want. So if you're tired of starting over, stop quitting. We're not quitters, right? We're persistent, but we want to stay persistent and consistent. It really makes it a lot easier. And you're making it hard by doing that. You're making it so much harder by doing that. So here's your challenge. Pick thing, one thing that you are going to do consistently for the next 7 days. Even if it's just 10 minutes, one thing. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe that's something you've been meaning to start, right? Tag me, DM me, and drop it below this video. I want to hear what that one thing you're going to do consistently over the next 7 days is. All right, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for showing up for me and for yourself. Let's get this business rocking. I want to hear all about it. Drop what you're doing in the comments below and tell me what you're going to do for the next 7 days. Have an amazing rest of your day. Ciao, ciao.